Today is the second day of the month of Kislev. We will be finishing off chapter 20, going from paragraphs 8 through paragraphs 12, discussing the laws of the Chazzan's repetition of the Shemoneh Esrei, and we will begin paragraph 21, discussing the laws of a make-up Shemoneh Esrei. In paragraph 21, we'll be doing paragraphs 1 and 2. Paragraph 8. On fast days, the Chazzan, during his repetition of Shemoneh Esrei, he adds in a paragraph called Anenu. During the morning service, this will be on page 104 in the article Siddur, that gray box on top. And during Mincha, the afternoon service, this is on page 238, that gray box over there. If the Chazzan forgets to say it over there in that spot where he's supposed to, then he could say it in Shema Kolenu. Shema Kolenu is on the paragraph called Shema Kolenu. That's on page 108 in the morning service. And the afternoon service in Mincha, it's on page number 242. That's where, in this paragraph of Shema Kolenu, is where the congregation says it in the quiet Shemoneh Esrei during Mincha, during the afternoon service, but the Chazzan is supposed to say it earlier. If the Chazzan forgot both of those places, he then should say it when he finishes Shemoneh Esrei, and if he forgets it totally, then he does not repeat Shemoneh Esrei to go back. This paragraph of Anenu is a special paragraph asking God to answer us on this day of the fasting when we're afflicting ourselves to answer our prayers. Paragraph 9. We already know that you need 10 people in order to do Chazaras Shatz, the Chaz repetition. But let's say you have a few people that did not daven Shemoneh Esrei yet. They daven Shemoneh Esrei, now they want to do a repetition. But you have more people that did not daven, that already daven Shemoneh Esrei. So the amount of people that actually daven Shemoneh Esrei themselves just now was less than 10, but there are other people willing to complete the minyan for Chazaras Shatz for the repetition. Does that work? Or do you have to have that all 10 people who are listening to the repetition or involved in the repetition, they had not davened their own Shemoneh Esrei yet? So the answer is you have to have at least 6 people who have not yet davened, who this is their Shemoneh Esrei and their repetition. So if you have 6 people who daven together, they now want to do a repetition, they could pull in another 4 people, and then they could do a repetition of Shemoneh Esrei. If you have less than 6 people who daven together, then you cannot do a repetition of Shemoneh Esrei, even if you end up with 10 people. So again, you had 6 people daven Shemoneh Esrei, you cannot pull in another 4, do repetition. If you have less than 6, you can't do repetition at all. But there is one other thing you could do if you have less than 6. If you have 10 people, even if only one person didn't daven yet, and he wants to get in a quasi-repetition of the Shemoneh Esrei, what you could do is he starts his own quiet Shemoneh Esrei out loud. He pulls in 9 other people. He starts his quiet Shemoneh Esrei out loud, and he says it out loud through Kedusha. Again, Kedusha, during the morning service at least, is on the bottom of page 100. It's where we say that line, it starts out in Kadesh Shemcha Ba'olam. We say Kadosh, 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 Holy, 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 a very special prayer that we say. And so he says Shemoneh Esrei out loud, his own quiet Shemoneh Esrei. He says this time out loud through Kedusha and through the 3rd paragraph of Shemoneh Esrei, which is at the top of page 102. Everyone answers Kedusha to his amains, his Kedusha, and then when he starts the 4th paragraph of Shemoneh Esrei, he then says that quietly to himself, and everyone else could go do what they want. They could leave at that point. Now, this is commonly done not only when you only have one person who missed a minyan who wants to get some sort of repetition and get in Kedusha. It's also done if for whatever reason there's a time constraint on the service. For whatever reason, let's say you're davening Mincha and it's really close to sunset. You have to finish Shemoneh Esrei before sunset. If you do a full repetition, you're not going to have enough time to finish it before sunset. So therefore, what sometimes people will do is they'll do this quasi repetition where instead of having everyone do the quiet Shemoneh Esrei and then repetition, then the Chazzan will just get up front of the shul. He'll start his own Shemoneh Esrei out loud, do the first 3 paragraphs, including Kedusha, and then he continues in his quiet Shemoneh Esrei, and at that point, everyone else begins their quiet Shemoneh Esrei. You'll also see it very often in yeshivas. In yeshivas, because the yeshiva, everyone in the yeshiva is studying Torah, so the longer the service takes, then the less Torah they'll be able to study. So therefore, by afternoon service at least, it's pretty common to find in yeshivas, they'll do this version of the repetition. I don't know why it's called Heicha Kedusha, it's called. I don't know where that name comes from. If you find out, then please shoot me a text on my WhatsApp where that name comes from. It's called Heicha Kedusha. So you often have Heicha Kedusha done in yeshivas as well, besides other places where there's a time constraint, or where you don't have a full, at least 6 people who are davening Shemoneh Esrei now. Paragraph 10. There are a number of mistakes that if somebody makes in the Shemoneh Esrei, they have to repeat Shemoneh Esrei for. We had discussed the seasonal editions in two chapters back, and so many of those seasonal editions, if you said the wrong one, you have to repeat Shemoneh Esrei. So all those things apply to their petition, the Shemoneh Esrei as well. If the Chazzan makes a mistake and he says the wrong thing, for example, in the middle of the winter, he said the same bracha, which is God should give us a blessing, instead of saying the same Talmud bracha, they should give us dew and rain as a blessing. That's something that individual will have to go back for. If the Chazzan messed it up in his repetition, he also has to repeat the repetition for that as well. The one exception is if you forgot Yalav Yavo during Shachris, during the morning service. Yalav Yavo is what we add on Rosh Chodesh. We add it in on the intermediary days of Sukkot and of Pesach. So if during the morning service the Chazzan forgot Yalav Yavo, he does not have to repeat the Shemoneh Esrei. He does not have to repeat the repetition. This is because after the morning service is going to be a Musaf service. In the Musaf service, you mention the specialness of the day as well. That's what the whole Musaf service is about. And therefore, since he's going to be mentioning it as a Chazzan in his repetition during Musaf, we don't require the whole congregation to wait for the Chazzan's repetition to be repeated a second time. Paragraph 12. The Kedusha prayer, which is said during the Chazzan's repetition, again, this is about on page 100 in the morning service, that's an extremely important part of the repetition. Not only that, the Amen following that third blessing of the Chazzan's repetition is also extremely important and has the same level of sanctity as the Kedusha itself. Therefore, if somebody's coming late to services, and they're going a bit slower than everybody else for whatever reason it is, and they're starting Shemoneh Esrei late, and by starting Shemoneh Esrei late, they're going to miss davening the same time as everybody else, davening Shemoneh Esrei at least, then they should not start their own Shemoneh Esrei until after they hear Kedusha, until after the Chazzan says Kedusha, so that they could join in Kedusha and the Amen following Kedusha as well. Now, we're not supposed to have a break between Michamocha, that final blessing before Shemoneh Esrei in the morning service, at least is page 96, at the bottom 96 in the mornings in the Arskal Siddur. There's not supposed to be a break between that final blessing of Baruch Atah Hashem Ga'al Yisrael, blessed are you Hashem who redeemed Israel, and Shemoneh Esrei. So a person who's in the middle of davening and they now want to pause to be able to answer to Kedusha, what they have to do is they have to stop before Shir Chadasha, bottom on page 96. There's a line there that says Shir Chadasha, with a new song, the redeemed ones praise your name at the sea. So he has to stop over there. He has to wait for Kedusha and the Amen following the blessing after Kedusha to have been said by the Chazzan, and then he can begin his Shemoneh Esrei. Another option, which is actually a little bit better, is that he starts his Shemoneh Esrei the same time as the Chazzan's repetition of Shemoneh Esrei, and he says it word for word with the Chazzan, and then he can answer to Kedusha, because that's where he's up to in his own Shemoneh Esrei, and he then should end off the blessing of the third blessing. He should end off the blessing Baruch Atah Hashem HaKal HaKadosh the same time as the Chazzan. At that point, he could then continue at his own pace, his own speed, the rest of Shemoneh Esrei. But until then, he should be saying it along with the Chazzan, quietly, of course, but the same speed. Chapter 21. The rules of making up a Shemoneh Esrei. Paragraph 1. Let's say a person missed the time period for a Shemoneh Esrei. For example, we saw that the morning service has to be said, you have to finish Shemoneh Esrei the latest by halachic midday. Again, you can go to myzmanim.com, type in your location, and they'll give you all the halachic times when you have to finish the different prayers by. So morning service, you can start as soon as it's sunrise, and you're supposed to finish it by the fourth halachic hour of the day. If there was something beyond your control, you couldn't say it by then, you could then say Shemoneh Esrei until the halachic midday. Now let's say you missed that. What do you do now? Did you lose your chance to say it? So if it was an accident, if it was something beyond control, if you're negligent, if that's why you didn't say it, you just couldn't get around to it, you're too busy eating breakfast, or who knows what, watching the news, then sorry, you lost your chance. But if there were circumstances beyond your control, you were sick, you were taking care of somebody else who was sick, let's say you were drunk and you're not allowed to pray when you're drunk, as we saw. Things of that nature maybe shouldn't have been drunk, but things of that nature are considered beyond your control, and there's a way to make it up, and that is after you pray the next Shemoneh Esrei. So, for example, morning service, you missed the time period. You're now, when you finish, you missed the morning service for whatever reason, for something beyond your control. Come afternoon service, after you say Shemoneh Esrei for afternoon service, you then repeat a second Shemoneh Esrei, which is going to be a makeup for your morning service. Again, the afternoon service comes first, the regular service comes first, and then the makeup comes afterwards. So the way it works is for Mincha, we'll go through different prayers. Let's say you missed morning service. For Mincha afternoon service, what you do is you say Shemoneh Esrei. After Shemoneh Esrei, you're going to do the prayer called Tachanun. Once you finish Tachanun, you now do a makeup Shemoneh Esrei for your missed morning Shemoneh Esrei. If you're praying with a minyan, you of course wait till after the Chazzan repetition. So you'll say Shemoneh Esrei, you listen to the Chazzan repetition, you'll say Tachanun, then you'll say Shemoneh Esrei another time to make up for the one that you missed in the morning. If you missed the Mincha Shemoneh Esrei, then come evening service, you say the evening service, you say the evening Shemoneh Esrei, you then wait the amount of time it takes to walk 4 cubits, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 seconds, not more than that, and then you start a second Shemoneh Esrei to make up for the afternoon Shemoneh Esrei that you missed. In this case, you don't have to say Ashrei first, you can just start the second Shemoneh Esrei right away. Now let's say you missed the evening service Shemoneh Esrei, so the next morning during Shachris, during morning services, you say the morning service Shemoneh Esrei, then you're going to say, if you're with a minyan, listen to the repetition, you say Tachanun, you'll say Ashrei, and then after you say Ashrei, then you'll say your makeup Shemoneh Esrei from which you missed the evening before. After you finish that makeup Shemoneh Esrei, then you'll finish off the rest of the morning service, which is Lam Natseach, Uval Tzion, etc. Paragraph 2. The Kislev goes through some examples of good enough excuses that you could do a makeup Shemoneh Esrei. The first one, he says, if you thought that you had more time to pray than you had, you either miscalculated the time, you had the wrong time of day, or you looked up the wrong day in the calendar, whatever it was, you thought you had an extra hour to daven, and then you say, oh my goodness, the time for morning service passed. That's considered an accident. It's not considered too negligent, at least enough that you're able to make it up. If somebody was involved in preventing a financial loss, let's say, God forbid, there's a fire, their house is on fire, something of that sort, that's considered a good enough reason to, I don't know if it's considered a reason to miss Shemoneh Esrei, but it's not considered negligent, and then you can make up Shemoneh Esrei. If somebody, even in the Kitzur Chanarach Mishnah Berurah actually says, even if somebody's involved in a business transaction, and if they would stop in the middle to daven Shemoneh Esrei, it would be a huge loss. Again, they probably should stop in Shemoneh Esrei. They probably should stop in daven Shemoneh Esrei anyways, or they should work it out their schedule that they shouldn't have gotten into this situation in the first place. But if they didn't do that and they missed Shemoneh Esrei, then they're able to make it up. Again, remember, making it up does not mean that you did the right thing, but it means it's not negligent enough to lose your chance to make it up. Another example he says, like I mentioned earlier, if somebody was drunk and you're not, either they're drunk and therefore they're conked out and they're not awake to daven, or let's say they're drunk and they are awake, but you're not allowed to daven when you're too drunk, and therefore they're not allowed to daven now, and they end up missing the time for Shemoneh Esrei. These are all examples of situations where, again, you shouldn't have gotten yourself into the situation. You weren't allowed to do that, but it's not considered necessarily fully negligent, and therefore you're allowed to do the makeup Shemoneh Esrei. This concludes today's learning. Have a wonderful day, and see you tomorrow.